Hello, today I'm going to make some lovely fish soup. Now this is a very, very simple dish which can be made all together in 40 minutes. So what we're going to do now is just go through the ingredients that you need. You're going to need some tinned tomatoes, and this is actually for 4 people, a clove of garlic, and then I've got a little bit of curry powder, and I suggest that you use the mild curry powder, some onion, half an onion, fennel, some olive oil, fresh dill. I've got some king prawns here. You need to have the raw king prawns. Some lovely cod, and try and get the chunky cod if you can. Some creme fraiche, chicken stock. There's about 800 mils here. And then some French bread. You can actually use, if you want, wholemeal bread or any other nice sliced bread would do. So I'm going to start off by making the base of the soup. The great thing with this is that you can make the base well in advance. So if you want to make it the day before or in the morning, then that's absolutely fine. And you can just leave it sitting on top of the stove. So for the base, I'm just going to put some onion, and we'll slice the onion or dice it. It needs to be fairly small. And the great thing as well with this is that you don't have to use cod. You can use monkfish, which is very good. And I've also made it with haddock. I'll just put this stove on. So I'm going to let the onion fry gently, and then I'm going to slice the fennel. Now fennel is absolutely fabulous with fish. It just gives it a wonderful flavour. I'm going to use a whole fennel bulb. This one is quite small, so if you use a bigger bulb, you may want to just use half. And we'll just slice this into thin, it's got to be fairly thin, the slices. And fennel's got this fabulous odour as you cut it, which I absolutely love. I'll cut this up. Now, I really like to be quite generous with it. You may find that some people find fennel a little bit strong. For instance, if you're giving this to children, they don't always like to have fennel. So if you prefer, you can use celery instead, which works almost as well. So we'll just chop that up. And then I'm going to add this to the onion so they can both cook together. Now to this, I'm going to add a clove of garlic. We'll just let that saute there. I'm going to do it the lazy way and use a garlic crush. And we'll just put that in. And then here we have the curry powder. This is about 1 teaspoon of curry powder. So in that goes. And give it a really good stir, and then just leave that to saute for a good few minutes. Now while that's cooking, I'm going to prepare the fish. So here we have a lovely piece of cod. I'm going to cut this into fairly big chunks. You can see here that I'm dicing it into, it's about 2 centimetres square chunks. Now I got this cod actually from the fishmongers, and you can ask them to have a loin, which is the slightly thickest part. If you have your cod too thin, then as soon as you put it into the soup and cook it, it just starts flaking away, and what you really want is to have nice big pieces. So this is coming on nicely, the lovely smell from the fennel and the garlic. We'll just let that continue to cook. Now with the creme fraiche, this is what we're going to use instead of a mayonnaise. We're going to put just a little dollop into the soup, and I'm going to put a clove of garlic into here. Now you can use a low-fat creme fraiche. This whole dish actually is very low in calories. It's under 500 calories per serving. So I'll just mix that in. And now I'm going to add the tomatoes. And just leave that, again, cook for a few minutes. Another thing you can add, which also gives it a delicious flavour, is a little bit of saffron. If you just do a good pinch of saffron, again you get this lovely colour and this wonderful flavour of the saffron. So the base has been cooking for about 20 minutes now, and I'm just going to add about a teaspoon of sugar to it. That helps to bring out the flavour of the tomatoes. You can also use honey, but for the sake of this I'm going to use sugar. And then I'm going to add to this the vegetable stock. Now I've actually used a Swiss bouillon for this, which I really like. It comes in a little pot and it's all natural. But you can use, if you want, you can boil up your own vegetables, have homemade stock, and also, of course, you can use chicken stock, fish stock, if you want to boil up the bones and use the stock from that. So to this, I'm going to, as soon as it's come up to the boil, I'm going to add in the fish. And the fish really only needs literally a couple of minutes to cook. You do not want to overcook it, so it should be lovely and firm, but also cooked through as well. So this is just coming up to the boil here. Actually, before I add the fish, I'm just going to season it with some salt and pepper. Some lovely sea salt going in there. And now it's starting to boil, so I'll just add this lovely cod. Now when this has been cooking for 1 minute, I'm going to add the prawns. So you can see that already it's starting to change colour. Give it a good stir. The smells from there are just wonderful. And now I'll add the prawns. And again, with prawns, very important not to overcook them. You don't want them to be horrible and rubbery. They only need a couple of minutes. When they start, or when they're completely pink, then that's a sign that they're pretty much ready. And the final thing that I'm going to add, once the fish and the prawns are cooked, is this dill. Now here I've got about 2 tablespoons of dill. You can also add parsley as well and coriander. I like to add a lot of herbs to this kind of a soup. It just gives it a wonderful flavour. And also dill is just such a fantastic herb to go with fish. So now you can see that if I just tip it forward, you can see that the prawns are starting to change colour and the fish is beginning to cook nicely there. So at this stage I'll add the dill, and you can, as I said, be really, really generous with this. Give it a good stir. And then when that boils up, it'll be ready to serve. And I'm going to serve it with this sliced French bread, which you can just heat up and put some butter on. The other thing you can do as well, if you're doing a dinner party or something, you could add some langoustine at the end, just at the very end, some cooked langoustine to heat it through. It gives a really lovely dinner party dish and looks very impressive as well when it comes to the table. So now you can see everything is beautifully cooked. I'll just turn this off and serve it. I think it looks lovely in a sort of nice big bowl. Serve it up. So as you can see, there's plenty here for 4 people. The great thing with the soup too is that you can freeze it if you want. So if you are only 2 people, you can freeze the rest of it. and then just defrost it and heat it up gently. So there you have it, a lovely fish soup with fresh dill, and I'll just put a lovely dollop of creme fraiche on there. And there you have it. I'll just give it a quick stir just to let some of the creme fraiche mix in and taste it. So there you have a delicious, very simple fish soup. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again soon.